Hello there, this is Amy from MFM, and I am here to go through a word problems with you today. So my word problem involves blackberries. So blackberries hibernate for approximately 7.5 months. Wow, that is crazy. On average, black bears weigh, and you might have noticed I've covered up the numbers for the first time we read through this problem, because I don't want you to focus on the numbers quite yet. So on average, black bears weigh blank pounds and lose blank of their body weight during hibernation. After a black bear wakes up from hibernation, how much weight have they lost? And over here, I have a picture of a black bear. So let's see here. On average, black bears weigh 260 pounds and they lose 1/5 of their body weight during hibernation. How much weight have they lost after they wake up from hibernation? So I'm going to change colors here. So we know that on average, they weigh 260 pounds, just walking around every day. And then during that 7.5 months of hibernation, they lose 1/5 of their total body weight. So what we are trying to find is what is 1/5 of 260? But before we solve that, we're going to do a little estimate here just to see if our answer is reasonable after we solve for our answer. So instead of finding 1/5 of 260, let's start with finding 1/2 of 260. 1/2 of 260. I like to use 1/2 as much as I can. It's a benchmark fraction and should be used all the time as you're estimating with fractions. So 1/2 of 260. Okay, so looks like I'm going to be solving 1/2 of 260. 1 times 260 is 260. And then I'm working with halves, so over 2. And this represents 260 divided by 2. I'm going to pop over in Braining Camp and use some of their place value block virtual manipulatives to solve this estimate. So we had the black bear weighing on average 260 pounds. And if they lost half of their body weight, we would divide by 2. So first I'm going to build 260, and I could make these place value blocks bigger or smaller. I decided smaller just because they take up less space. So there's 100, there's 200, and I'm going to add my 10s, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So I don't have any ones, I have 260. 260. And I'm going to go ahead and divide this into 2 equal size groups. So here I'm going to sketch 2 groups, and I'm going to divide or share out this 260 in these 2 groups. So I'm going to divide out my hundreds first. So it looks like I have 100 in each group. So I know my answer is at least 100. And I can tell by my 10s that I have that my answer, we'll call my answer X, is going to be greater than 100 at least, because I have some 10s that I need to divide out. I have 60 of these 10s. So I'm going to divide equally so that each group gets the same amount. All right, looks like I have 100, 10, 20, 30, 100, 10, 20, 30. So I have 130 in each group. And if I add 130 to 130, I get back to 260. So 1/2 of 260, or 260, divided by 2 is 130. Okay, so if that black bear lost half of their weight while hibernating, they would be down to 130 pounds. So my estimate, I know that slash answer is going to be less than 130 pounds. Okay, so after we solve, we can double check that our answer is indeed less than 130 pounds. I'm going to go ahead and erase this part, and I'm going to erase these just to give me some more space. Next, so for the actual answer, for the exact answer, I need to find 1/5 of 260. So Of, I know in math, means to multiply, just like I was working with 1/2 of 260. 1 times 260 is 260. And I'm working into fifths here, so I'm going to divide by 5. So now I'm going to go back to my place value blocks, and I'm going to clear this screen. And instead of dividing into 2 groups or dividing by 2, I'm going to divide 260 by 5. So I'm going to make my 5 groups, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to start with building 260. Okay, so over here, I have 200. And over here, I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So I have 260. First, I'm going to divide out my hundreds. Oh, whew, something happens here. I can tell right away that my answer is going to be less than 100. So I'm not going to have 100 in every group. So I'm going to say X is my answer, and it's a number that's less than 100. Okay, so in order to model this for you, I need to turn these hundreds into tens because my answer is going to be less than 100. So over here on the left, I can turn these into tens, and I will turn this one into tens as well. All right, so let me move these a little bit so I can easily count them. Oops, okay, actually, let me do some erasing. This might be easier. Okay, so I'll rewrite my problem over here. I have some more space. 100 or 260 divided by 5. And I'm going to move these up a little. There we go. Okay, let's count out our tens here. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. All right, so we actually, with 100 plus 100 plus 60, back to our 260, it's just now we're in all tens so that we can divide. All right, so this is my value of all of these tens, but I also know that I have 10 tens here, 10 tens here, and 6 tens here. So what I have all together is 26 tens. So in order to know how many I need to put in each group, I want to think, what's 26 divided by 5 about? I'll write that down here. 26 divided by 5. Okay, so I know that 5 times 4 is 20. I could go a little bit higher. 5 times 5 is 25. There we go, that's close. 5 times 6 is 30. That's a little too much. So 5 times 5 is 25, and I'm going to have 1 left over, and we will work with that towards the end. So that means I'm going to take 5 of these and put 5 of these tens into each group. Okay. I have 5 over here. Five in this group. 5 in this group. 5 in this group. And 5 in this group. So let me do some erasing because I have a lot of extra numbers now that we don't need. We can clear up some space. There we go. Okay, so this 10 right here that I have, I can't put it in this group because then I'll have 6 10s in this group and 5 in the other, so I won't have equal sized groups. So I'm going to take this 10. If I click on over to the left, there's a little button. I'm going to turn it into ones. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 ones. And I need to divide those 10 ones into my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. So 10 divided by 5 is exactly 2. So I'm going to put 2 ones into each of my groups here. Okay, here we go, and almost there, I got it. So let me do some more erasing to clean up our space. We don't have too much clutter. All right, let's see what quantity we have in each group. 10, 20, 30, 40, we have 50 plus 2, so 52. I'll just double check 52 that I divided all of these quantities equally. 52, 52, 52. All right, perfect. And then let's check my estimate. Yes, my answer is less than 100. So 260 divided by 5 equals 52. Now, if we wanted to check that by multiplying, I would take 52 and multiply it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. And I'm going to check to make sure I get back to 260, which is the weight of that black bear before they go into hibernation. So 5 times 2 is 10, and 5 times 50 is 250. Go ahead and add that up. And yes, I get back to 260. So my division, I calculated that correctly. So I'm going to go back to my problem, which I know my answer is 52. So 1/5 of 260, or 260 divided by 5 equals 52. How much weight have they lost? So I'm going to go ahead and write down a complete sentence. The black bear has lost 52 pounds during hibernation. Wow. So by not eating and just sleeping for 7.5 months, the black bears on average have lost, or I should say have lost 52 pounds if on average they weighed 260 pounds. Pretty amazing. I hope that these examples have helped you to understand multiplying and dividing with fractions. Have a wonderful day.